Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining the first session of Transforming the Circular Economy, and welcome. My name is Dr. Pierangelo Rosati. I'm Assistant Professor in Business Analytics at DCU Business School, and I will be your MC for today's session with Víctor, Fabregat Tena, and Beatriz Castro Granados. As you might know, the Transform series is an online seminar series that explores the growing impact of digital transformation on business and society. Today, specifically, we will kick off this week's event with a presentation on one of the Horizon 2020 projects that directly involve DCU and our research center. And I'm delighted to be joined by Víctor Fabregat Tena, Head of Research Development and the Innovation Department at REGENERA, and Beatriz Castro Granados, Marine Engineer at REGENERA. Both Víctor and Beatriz will be telling us a bit more about RENO and how that fits within the context of the circular economy. Please, for the audience, feel free to send in your questions during the session using the Q&A function that you see at the bottom of the screen. Please note that the chat is disabled, so you won't be able to use the chat. You can only use the Q&A function. And we will try to address as many questions as possible at the end of the talk. So with no further delay, I'll hand over to our two speakers. So welcome, welcome, and thanks for accepting our invitation. Beatriz and Víctor, are you there?
Hello, good afternoon.
So thanks again for accepting our invitation. You can share your screen. You should be able to share your screen, and you can get started anytime you're ready. I will be in the background in case you have any technical difficulties.
Can you see it, the screen, Pierangelo?
Yes.
Okay, so good afternoon, everybody. First of all, I would like to thank to Pierangelo and also to Dublin City University for inviting us to this event about circular economy and for having the opportunity to explain you the Horizon 2020 European project, the RENO project, an augmented intelligence enabled stimulating framework from deep energy renovation delivering occupant-centered innovations. This is a project in which participates several companies, public and private entities along Europe. Dublin City University is one of the participants. REGENERA, our company, we are located in Spain, in Murcia, in the south of Spain. We are also another of the participants. And it's a pleasure for us to show you how to implement the circular economy in the built environment. The talk will be given by me and by my colleague Beatriz. And first of all, I'm going to talk about circular economy. After that, my colleague Beatriz will explain you the RENO project and the circular economy into this project, into the RENO project. And finally, I'm going to talk about crowdfunding methods. So what's circular economy? The circular economy can be defined as a new production and consumption model in which the value of products, material and resources is retained in the economy for as long as possible, and is so important to taking into account that the waste generation is minimized. One of the classical definitions of circular economy is by the 7 principles or 7 R's: redesign, reduce, reuse, repair, recover, renew, and recycle. Circular economy contrasts with the traditional linear economy model. This linear economy model is based mainly on the concept of use and throw away, which requires large amounts of materials and energy. In this context, increasing demand and finite resources, the impact on the environment and other factors make necessary the transition to a circular economy. In 2015, the European Union started the legislation about circular economy. So the first legislation was the closing the loop and a European Union Action Plan for the Circular Economy in 2015. And last year, in 2020, the last European directive about circular economy is a new circular economy action plan for a cleaner and more competitive Europe. We will speak about the two normatives in the next slides. But what are the limitations of linear economy? Linear economy is an unstable supply for raw materials, is characterized also by the scarcity of resources, volatile prices of resources, lost value of materials and products, waste generated, and environment degradation and climate change. So in this SEM, in the SEM of the right, you can see that the timeline of the products is aligned in the circular economy. And this line finishes in waste, and more waste. Moreover, the implementation of circular economy is also beneficiary for the European economy, because since 2014, just 1 year before the first European Union legislation about circular economy, as you can see in the slide, European Union imported more materials and natural resources than it exported. So this was one of the factors that made important this transition to the linear economy towards the circular economy. So all of these factors, the increasing demand of raw materials, the other environmental factors, the need of reuse and recycle the waste, etc. All of these factors make necessary the transition to circular economy. As you can see in the left of the slide, the timeline of the materials in the circular economy is circular in order to reduce the waste and increase the reuse of the sub-products. And in the right, we can see the first European legislation about circular economy in 2015. And these are the benefits of this transition towards a circular economy. Maintaining the value of products, materials, and other resources in the economy for as long as possible. This is so important. Minimizing the waste generation. This is the second most important factor and one of the most environmental factor. Boosting our competitiveness with new business opportunities and innovative products and services, and bringing economic, social, and environment gains. Another benefits of circular economy are related to energy and climate, jobs growth and investment, and other factors about democratic change, better regulation, etc. So the economy circular is a priority with one objective, building a sustainable future, and with one model, protecting the environment and boosting competitiveness go hand in hand. Circular economy is also involved in other European Union international commitments, such as the 2030 Sustainable Agenda, the Paris Agreement to combat the climate change, and also in the G7 countries group in the Alliance for Resources Efficiency. And the key action areas of circular economy are production, in order to provide incentives to boost circular product design and innovative and efficient production processes. Consumption, to provide consumers with reliable information on the environmental impact of products. Very important, the waste management, in order to improve waste management, address existing implementation gaps, and provide long-term vision and targets to guide investments. the use of secondary raw materials, increase the use of secondary raw materials, increase the use of recycled nutrients and the reuse of treated wastewater, safely manage risks of chemical of concern, and improve knowledge of material stocks and flows. And also, there is so important for this concept the innovation and investment to create the right environment for innovation and investment. So, in this context, these are the priority sectors of circular economy. For example, biomass and bio-based products, plastics, very important, the reuse of the plastics, construction and demolition, critical raw materials, food waste, etc. Regarding RENO project is close related to the construction and demolition, to the use of critical raw materials, also in recovery of valuable resources and better assessment of environmental performance of buildings, and also in the promotion of the recovery of critical raw materials. And finally, it's also important to show you the priority actions in order to implement the circular economy. These are the innovation, the regional policy with European structural investment funds, investment, a new platform for financing circular economy, and overcoming barriers. RENO project is related with innovation, with the first pillar, because this project is a project founded by the Horizon 2020 European program. And all of them, in order to achieve the benefits, all of these pillars are made in order to achieve benefits in economic, environmental, and social aspects all around Europe. And this is the second European legislation about circular economy. This is the 2020 Circular Economy Action Plan. And this action plan, in this action plan, the European Union Circular Economy Action Plan for a cleaner and more competitive Europe will play a key role in delivering the European Green Deal's ambition vision of a just, climate neutral, resource efficient and competitive economy. It has an international dimension of the circular economy that will help achieve the European Union climate neutrality by 2050, decouple economy growth from resource use, keep resource use within planetary boundaries, set global standards and production sustainability, and promote also the job creation in Europe. To this end, the international initiatives in the action plan will mobilize European Union influence, expertise, etc., in order to achieve the sustainable development goals. And it's also important the change and the biodiversity targets and the support in this global post-pandemic context. The Circular Economy Action Plan includes 35 actions along the entire life cycle of products to make sustainable products, to empower consumers and public buyers, also focus also on key product value chains to ensure less waste, make circularity work for people, regions and cities, and lead global efforts on circular economy. And these are the key products value chains in this 2020 Circular Economy Action Plan: food, water and nutrients, electronic and ICT, batteries and vehicles, packaging, plastics and textiles. And RENO projects is inside the value chain of construction and buildings. And finally, to conclude this first part of circular economy, I'm going to define the strategy for a sustainable built environment. This strategy will ensure coherence across the relevant policy areas such as climate, energy, and resource efficiency, management of construction, accessibility, digitalization, and skills. It will promote circularity principles throughout the life cycle of buildings. Moreover, the Renovation Wave initiative will be implemented in line with circular economy principles, notably optimized life cycle performance and longer life expectancy of built assets. The actions of this strategy for a sustainable built environment are the construction product regulation by recycled content requirements, promoting measures to improve the durability and adaptability of built assets, to integrate life cycle assessment in public procurements and the European Union Sustainable Finance Framework with material recovery targets set in European Union legislation for construction and demolition waste and its material specific fractions, and promoting initiatives to reduce soil sealing, and also a circular use of excavated soils. So all of these are the concept of circular economy and specialized focus in the built sustainable environment. And this is the second part of the second point of this conference. So my colleague Beatriz will explain you the RENO project and also its circular economy action.
Thank you, Victor. So I'm going to introduce you to the project of Horizon 2020 we are working on. As Victor said, it is called an augmented intelligence-enabled stimulating framework for deep energy renovation, delivering occupant-centered innovation. But the acronym is RENO. It has a duration of 4 years and a budget of almost 5 million euros. Victor, if you please. Yeah, thank you. The consortium is composed of 17 members, and 10 of them are from European countries. As you can see at the bottom of the slide, you can see all the companies that work on this project. But what's the point of carrying out this project? Well, according to the European Commission, a renovation rate of 3% annually would be needed to accomplish the Union's energy efficiency. So the current renovation rate is from 0.4 to 1.2%, depending on the country. So it would take more than 100 years to renovate all the European Union building stock. So for this reason, the main objective of RENO is to help drastically accelerate the rate of deep renovation and thereby contribute to achieving an ambitious renovation rate of 3.5%. So in order to increase this renovation rate, the first thing to do is to identify and understand the key challenges and factors of building renovation. Renovations need to become more attractive and more reliable in terms of performance. Renovations need to be less disruptive for occupants and less time consuming, especially for residential buildings. It has to be less energy intensive from a life cycle perspective and more environmentally friendly regarding the applied materials. And of course, it has to be more cost effective and financially attractive. As a result of all these factors I've just mentioned in the previous slide, this project will offer a portfolio of innovative technologies like building envelope solutions or renewable energies and storage solutions. A portfolio of processes like off-site and on-site industrialization processes and so on. And finally, a portfolio of business models based on the crowdfunding, collaborative financing, and energy performance contracting. The concept of RENO consists of linking the three main renovation phases, which are planning, design, retrofitting, and monitoring. All of them count with augmented building intelligence advancement. RENO solutions will be demonstrated in 4 real-life demonstration projects to quantify and validate their impact throughout the whole renovation process. So these buildings reside in different climatic regions. They comply with different building codes and regulations. They have been constructed using very different building components and tools, and they are equipped with different heat, ventilation, and air conditioning systems and other building services. So the 4 demonstration sites that have been selected are in France, Denmark, Greece, and Poland. In the case of France, it is a social multifamily residential building consisting of 29 apartments of 36 square meters each and 1 apartment of 74 square meters. In the case of Denmark, it is a multifamily building with 464 flats, but only 7 of them are appointed as demo area. In the case of Greece, a multifamily building, it is a multifamily building which is part of a big social housing complex. And finally, in the case of Poland, it is a building that consists of 5 flats with 2 floors and a cellar. So a series of products and processes will be implemented in all these different demonstration sites. As product innovations, we can find bio-based materials that can be applied in double layer panels, pipes and sheets, and insulating systems. Then we have isocell cellulose insulation, which is a 90% bio-based material for insulating roofs, walls, and ceilings, and it is made of newspaper surplus upcycling. Then we have the thermochromic glass, which it uses the sun heat to darken a glass pane in order to cut off all the harmful elements from entering a building, and it creates a self-regulated building in terms of energy allowance or rejection. The next one would be the complement photovoltaic roof and facade solutions, where the photovoltaic modules replaces the ordinary roof material. The next one is the microvent, which is a facade integrated ventilation system, and it consists of a minimum of 2 units working together. One unit removes the air while the other supplies fresh air. And it is demand control with variable air volume, and it's based on the CO2, the temperature, the relative humidity, and so on. Then we can find also the building integrated photovoltaic glass, which is installed at the same way as conventional glasses. And finally, the decentralized domestic hot water preparation that can be combined with heating system and the photovoltaic system, which is a really good point. And on the other hand, we have the process innovations. All these technologies are included in what we call Construction 4.0 framework. And the technologies are the following: the on-site and off-site assembling of prefabricated solutions by cobots and robots, a platform for optimized logistics, another platform for automated progress, quality, and security control, which is developed by drones, and the 3D printing process. So now that I have introduced you to the RENO project, I'm going to talk about one specific work package, which is number 7, the RENO impact assessment, business model, and service innovation. It is in this work package that the circular economy is implemented. Well, the main objectives of these work packages are to analyze the technical and financial references of circular economy procedures and strategies, to present the most plausible future benefits from a business modeling perspective, to perform the impact assessment of RENO technologies and solutions from a circular economy perspective, then to develop the anticipated cost-sharing business models in line with the above circular economy framework, to elaborate appropriate finance models, and finally to develop the crowd equity, crowd lending scheme for deep renovation. So to develop this work package, it is split into 5 tasks. I'll talk about the first 4, and then my colleague Victor will explain the last one. Please. Yeah. To develop all these tasks, it is necessary the information from previous work packages. So the first work package contains all the requirements, the legal procedures, and the needs of each of the demo sites. The second one consists of the repository of building technologies or solutions for deep renovation. The third one is the planning and design phase, and the fourth one is in which the retrofitting process improvements are defined. So all the information collected in these previous work packages will be needed to develop the work package 7. So the first task would be circular economy design constraints and conditions for building renovation. The main objective of this task is to explore the boundaries of circular economy, to examine the prospects of business models that can provide incentives to all the renovation stakeholders. And in addition, building-related products, materials, and components will be considered as assessed for next use cycle. The second one is the assessment of RENO circular economy solutions, where the main objectives are to perform the impact assessment of RENO technologies or solutions from a circular economy point of view. Then it would be necessary to define and calculate the representative economical KPIs and to support business strategies in general, but specifically for demo cases. The third one is the multi-stakeholder driven business models and its investment de-risking, where the main objectives are to develop the business models integrating energy performance construction and offering product as a service, which it implies the addition of features such as energy storage and demand response or financing models. In addition, the use of this energy performance construction and product as a service will be examined to stimulate multi-stakeholder involvement and as a tool for de-risking energy efficiency investment. And the last one would be the integration of circular economy strategies in business models for building renovation, where the main objectives are the develop cost-sharing business models in line with the circular economy framework. So it would be necessary to upgrade the proposed business models from task 3.7.3 by adding the circular economy elements. And also it would be necessary to check whether the business models are optimal or the introduction of circular economy principles poses issues that hinder the large-scale deployment of sustainable business models. So I think that's all from my side. So Victor, the floor is yours again.
So I'm going to talk about the last task, the task 7.5 in the RENO project. And this task is crowd lending and post-renovation behavioral incentivization options for investment and financing. But before to explain the actions of this work, of this task, I'm going to explain you what is the crowdfunding. This is a new form of financing using internet-based platform connect with the connection with a directly connection between investors and borrowers. The concept key of the crowdfunding is to use small amounts of capital from a large number of investors to finance a project. There are 4 types of crowdfunding schemes. These are the donation-based, the reward-based, crowd equity, and crowd lending. Also, hybrid models may be developed. In task 7.5, this task aims to develop of a crowd equity and crowd lending schemes. But what are the difference between these 2 models or these 2 schemes? Crowd equity schemes. In crowd equity schemes, money is exchanged for a shares or a small stake in the project. The investor receive a financial return on their investment and ultimately receive a share of the profits. And intermediate return of investment is involved in this scheme. Regarding crowd lending schemes, the money obtained from the investors is considering a loan. Investors receive their money back with the payment of the agreed rate of interest and also fixed interest rate established in the contract. In crowd equity schemes, usually are used by small to medium-sized business or startups. Otherwise, crowd lending schemes usually are used by businesses that need capital and prefer to pay back the funds rather than give out equity. And crowd equity schemes, the risk to investors is the loss of capital for failure in the business models. Otherwise, the risk in crowd lending schemes, for the risk to investor in crowd lending schemes is the late payment. So the main objective to develop in this task 7.5 are to design a crowd equity platform able to set of smart contracts to support transactions, automation and secure microfinancers. Second one, the elaboration of a crowd equity and crowd lending schemes that will be able to attract the necessary investment to boost the European deep renovation market. And finally, the standardization of the business models based on case by case regarding the pilots and the use cases that Beatriz has explained before, and using predefined KPIs in the other previous tasks of this work package as tools derived from the life cycle cost outputs. It's very important to remark that all of these business models and these crowdfunding schemes will be made in the use case of the demo cases, will be performed considering the specification of them, but it as an innovative project, all of the deliverables and all of the conclusions and all of the outputs of the whole RENO project will be tested in the future in the building renovation scenario of the European Union. So this is it. I hope Beatriz and me hope you have learned about circular economy and the RENO project. Anyway, if there is any question, my colleague Beatriz and me will answer them.
Thank you very much, Victor and
Thank
Beatriz. Well, for the audience, if you have any questions, please type them in the Q&A that you see at the bottom of the screen, and we'll try to address as many as we can in the next few minutes. So can I just kick off with a question of my own? I know that you at REGENERA are involved in lots of different energy efficiency projects generally, and renewables energy projects as well. So from a finance perspective, what are the main challenges in setting up these projects? And so why, for example, crowdfunding, crowdlending might be particularly important to overcome these challenges?
This is so important in the, as I said before, in the European scenario from renovation of renovation in the construction and in buildings. So it's important because Europe is an ancient continent. There is a lot of edification, and a lot of this edification are of the last century, or maybe of the 2 centuries ago. And it's so important to make a sustainable change and a transition into this renovation. So the renovation scenario is so complicated, is so wide, and it also needs these financing models. So there is some actors involved, some stakeholders involved in this scenario of the renovation, and it's important to achieve this capital in order to finance not only the construction companies that will make possible this renovation. It's also important to finance also the owners of these buildings, and also there are another stakeholders that will be involved in this renovation scenario, public and private, and also it's important to take into account the governments, local governments, municipalities, town councils, and another public bodies that are close to the citizens, and that are also owners of some of these buildings, and sometimes are historical buildings. But the aim of these financial models is to keep in touch all of these possible investors with the possible stakeholders that are interested in make this renovation. These stakeholders are construction companies, owners, and public bodies.
Okay. We have a question here. We're still related to crowdfunding, and Hilary is asking, in addition to crowdfunding, is there a consideration to explore initial coin offerings or token offerings to finance the project? If not, any idea or reason for not intending to?
Yes, this is another interesting option in order to achieve this important financement in this renovation scenario. But this is an innovative project. The RENO project is an innovative project in the theme of the Horizon 2020. In one of the calls of Horizon 2020, RENO project is not the only project in this call. There are another projects in the same call and in other calls of another years. So every innovative project has one objective, several objectives. So into the RENO financing objectives is to explore this crowdfunding and crowd equity, crowd lending schemes. Another projects also that has the same topic, and the objectives are the same. The renovation building scenario in European Union maybe have another schemes in order to financing this renovation, but in RENO the innovative method that the RENO presents in our portfolio is the crowdlending, and this crowdlending and crowdfunding schemes. But of course, Pierangelo, there are another options, but this is an innovative project. So we are searching especially this, or we will study especially this type of financing, the crowdfunding.
Yeah, and I would also add, probably in the context of RENO, I think the initial coin offerings pose a particular challenge because of the non-existent regulation around them. And also initial coin offerings are typically designed for usage token. So essentially you buy the token, then you can use that to access specific service, which is not really suitable for RENO. On the other hand, token offerings and security token offerings are on the equity side, but so far the scale of those investments are just way more than what's needed there for a building renovation project like the one that we are testing. So as Victor said, this is just a space where the RENO project is focusing on, but of course there are other options that can be explored in the future. Another question here, Owen is asking, how has the pandemic affected the plans to implement the RENO project? Has it been slightly forgotten?
Well, I think and I hope there won't be any problem with the implementation of RENO solutions. The only thing is that all the meetings that we would be supposed to realize in other countries, or for example, we are supposed to visit sometime the demo site. I think we won't be able to do that for the moment. But I think for example, I don't know how your university is dealing with that, but we are now working from home, everybody. So I think that's the main problem.
Yeah, so well, it should probably be useful to clarify that for those who maybe some of the audience might miss this, but RENO is, say, we are 10 months into the project, over 4 years. So still a long way to go. And the actual work in the pilot sites is probably in year 3 or 4, if I remember correctly. Yeah. So it's still a bit down the road. And hopefully by that time, we have forgotten about COVID, or almost forgot about it. And but so far, to say, the only challenge we can see might be related to accessing the pilot sites for essentially for stakeholders to actually interact with the technologies. But yeah, thank God, so far we haven't been impacted too much. Another question here says, very interesting talk. Can you provide some more detail on how augmented intelligence is used in the project? I don't know who wants to take this.
Yes, I mean that the question is directed to how to implement some of the RENO solutions, especially RENO new devices into the building renovation scenario. So the RENO, one of the objectives of the RENO, as Beatriz said before, is not only the circular economy with the implementation not only of these new schemes from financing, of business models, etc. One of the circular economy projects is to make this renovation with recycled materials, and also to make the renovation with novel dispositives, smart dispositives in electricity, and other smart devices. So there are a lot of companies involved in this project. There are some technological companies and some industrial and manufacturing companies from these devices also involved in the RENO project. So now the RENO project is in terms to start testing some of them of this dispositive into the pilots, but we have not started the action to implement this technology into the pilots. But so we don't have now results about it, but the methodology of test these devices, these smart devices, is first of all to test the devices, not only devices, also the other biomaterials or materials derived from the circular economy, to test them into the 4 demo cases, the 4 buildings located in Denmark, France, Greece, and Poland, and to make conclusions from the test of these devices, also the smart devices, and in order to make the replication of all of these results in the European scenario from innovation. This is the methodology, but at this stage of the project, we haven't started to make it, but the methodology is this. And the companies or the partners involved in this test are the pilot providers and also the technological companies. For example, the 2 RENO project partners that are now present in this conference, REGENERA and Dublin City University, we are not the responsible to make this implementation in the RENO project, of the RENO project into the use cases. But this is a team, and the work is made by all of the team, by all of the members of the consortium, by all of the partners, and the results will have a most important application in the European building renovation scenario.
I would also, maybe it might be just useful to clarify also that essentially the main difference between what we're trying to develop in RENO compared to the traditional approach is that, say, in the full life cycle of renovation, typically there are lots of software and software solutions that are dedicated to one single step along the renovation process, which might be optimizing the work within optimizing the flow of materials within the construction site, designing what the elements might be, and then everything tends to stop at the end of the renovation. So the building is finished, off you go, here are the keys back, and that's where it usually ends. While in RENO, what we're trying to do is to create a system that takes into account all the steps, including the standard building renovation life cycle, from the very beginning, which is mapping and creating a digital twin of the buildings in a very efficient and non-disruptive way, all the way to incentivizing the occupants and the owners post-renovation in terms of making changing their behavior in such a way that it becomes more energy efficient and they can make the most out of the technologies that have been put into the building. And the platform, it actually maps out all the possible scenarios, so all different components that you can add and you can have in the building, and you can fit into the renovation, and try to essentially to come up with the optimal scenario, which is both optimal from a value for money perspective, and also from an energy efficiency perspective, which also fits within the circular economy principles. So just to I think it might be just useful, because sometimes when we talk and when we present things, I think this the overall project is in our head, but then it's actually quite complex to communicate it across. So I hope that clarifies the context a bit more. So a question from Pork, it says, can you explain the building digital logbook you mentioned, and how does this impact on sustainability? Sorry, I don't know if you're talking about, you're on mute, both of you.
Okay. I'm sorry. Can you repeat the question, please?
Can you explain the building digital logbook you mentioned and how this impacts sustainability?
the main impact in the sustainability is the use of these materials, biomaterials, and also smart devices, smart electrical devices, the introduce of the electric the energy efficiency in the buildings in order to reduce the carbon dioxide emissions, and also to increase the circular economy concept because the use of these recycled materials. The method of the quantification of this is the life cycle assessment, the life cycle cost, and also the carbon footprint calculations, because this is the method to quantify the carbon dioxide emissions and the reduce of these emissions. So this is the method to quantify the sustainability of the project. Sustainability speaking or related with the carbon dioxide emissions. The sustainability with the materials, the biomaterials or the construction materials, is the calculation of the life cycle cost.
Okay, and then we have another question here still related to crowdfunding, and Ira is asking, also from an entrepreneurial finance perspective, why is crowdfunding the best preferable option to finance the initiative among other internet-based source of finance?
I think personally, for my opinion, crowdfunding is maybe one of the best options, but is not maybe the best option. There are a lot of options. There are a lot of options that are good. I don't know if the crowdfunding is the best. Maybe it should be the best, or maybe not. But as I explained you, this is the option that we decided to prove and to study in the RENO project. The crowdfunding has an important okay, this is, can you see the screen? Okay, so one of the important benefits of the crowdfunding is the use of small amounts of capital from a large number of investors. So it should the benefits, I think this improve to achieve this a large amount of capital needed for make this renovation, because one of the benefits is to have a large number of investors, and not only just one or two investors. So and also the other advantage is the use of a platform in order to join or to be in touch all of these stakeholders needed to make the renovation. These are two of the advantages of the crowdfunding schemes, but of course we don't think this is the best scheme, or there are other schemes that are currently tested in other projects. This is an innovation project, and one of the objectives of this project is to test this crowdfunding scheme into the renovation building scenario of the European Union. So if the results in this testing will be good, so maybe as we think that it should be a very good option, so it will be a demonstration that maybe crowdfunding, yes, it is the best method, or some of the best method. But we are in a phase, or in a step of testing this method, and taking into account that RENO project is an innovative project.
Okay, super. So before wrapping up, I would like to thank Victor and Beatriz for taking the time to give us such an insightful and interesting talk today, and all of you for your participation. For those of you who are interested, there are more sessions of Transform the Circular Economy throughout the week. Specifically tomorrow, we will look at the airline industry with Clyde Hutchinson, partners at Journey Partners. On Wednesday, we will look at the Climate Action Sustainable Development Goal with Dr. Federica Doni from University of Milan. Then on Thursday, we will be joined by World Food Chef and also Roseanne Stevens and the founder of Green Outlook, Fiona Smithy. And they will discuss essentially the sustainable products and how to reduce food waste. And finally, on Friday, we will have a presentation from Mari Cronin, founder of the innovation agency Upthink, talking about circular economy business models. And last but not least, the founder of Host in Ireland, Gary Connolly, will talk about green data centers. So thanks again for joining us today, and we hope to see many of you tomorrow and for the rest of the week. All right, bye.
Goodbye. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye.